Hello and good morning and happy Tuesday and welcome to our first Yin class. I'm so excited to be teaching this class. It's actually one of my favorite classes to teach. It's been one of my favorite styles, for a long time. Between Yin and restorative, both of these classes, I personally really enjoy. It's a much slower paced class. It's much more meditative. And you get a chance to really get in tune with your body, your breath, and all of the sensations, creating a sense of harmony within as we open up these areas within the body, releasing the fascial adhesions that no longer serve us. So just a quick little thing here. First, we're going to get our props in order, and then I'm going to talk at you for a little bit. So first things first, we're going to get our props set up. So first of all, we're going to be needing a small blanket, a large towel, and a pillow. And before we get ourselves started, we're going to set up our mat for our first pose that we're going to be getting into right after our meditation. So what we're going to do is we're going to extend the towel lengthwise on the mat. We're going to grab our towel right to the edge of the blanket towel. We're going to karate chop it in half. And then you're going to roll up your pillow into your blanket, into your towel. I keep saying blanket for some reason. As tight as you can so that we have a bolster to work with for our practice. At any point in time, if this height of your bolster is too high for you, you can always unravel your bolster and just use your pillow flat. So this guy over here, the small blanket at the top of your mat, is going to be for your head to rest on. So you're going to want to leave just a sufficient amount of space between your bolster and that blanket, just for your shoulders to come across and the length of your arms. Okay. So from here, I'm just making sure that it's a little bit wider than the length of my hand. Okay. And then as you get yourselves set up, I'm going to come to a seated position to start today's practice with a short meditation and a little bit of an explanation into this practice, okay? The fascial net is think about it almost like an onion. It's very layered. So what happens with this fascial net, it tends to act a little bit like a cast sometimes. So when we're holding our bodies in a position for long extended periods of time, for example, if you're working at a desk every day, your shoulders are going to eventually start slumping forward if there is no corrective muscle engagement or postural alignment, right? So when you have this happening and your shoulders stay forward for a significant period of time, the fascial net starts to adhere itself together to help you stay in these postures. So this also decreases our flexibility and mobility as well. So as sometimes that this can be useful to us, not necessarily for the rest of our lives. So when we actually want to break these or release these fascial adhesions from the body, which today we're going to be working through the chest and the hips, we hold these outstretched positions for a long period of time, anywhere from 2 minutes to up to even 7 minutes sometimes. We're not going to be going to 7-minute mark today. We're going to be going up to the 5-minute mark today on some of our poses. So as we stay in these poses, you're going to realize that your sensations will increase in intensity. It's a very nice saying. It's a very nice way of saying you may find yourself to be uncomfortable when you're getting close to that 2, 3, 4, 5-minute mark. And this is why. So when you apply a little bit of tension throughout these areas in the body, as the body releases to gravity, that tension also, just like an elastic band, gets tighter and tighter and tighter. The more you relax, the more you relax, the more you relax. This is This next little part is integral for your practice. As the tension begins to tighten and the levels of sensations begin to increase, we need to remain calm and still without reacting. This is exactly what we do in meditation. We observe the sensations as it is, not how we want it to be. And as we observe from the seat of the observer without any judgment, without any discrimination, and we continuously breathe, going back to the breath, observing sensation, observing the breath, and allowing the body to open up, surrendering yourself completely to gravity. As these sensations rise, they also dissolve if we stay long enough to observe their impermanent nature. And as the sensations dissolve, so do the fascial adhesions, thus gaining openness throughout your body. All right, so today we're going to be working with the root and the heart chakra. So having these two things in mind, the root chakra is the base of our foundation. And the heart, love, compassion, forgiveness. So with these two things in mind, knowing that we're going to be working throughout these two areas of the body, coming to a tall seat, lengthening your spine, reaching through the crown of the head, flipping the palms down onto the thighs, beginning to lengthen your breath here. As you lengthen the breath, maybe lengthening the exhalation even longer than the inhalation, thus activating the parasympathetic nervous system, calming the body, calming the mind. And as you slowly start to sink into the center of your being, into the bodily sensations, into the breath, within the stillness, begin to find your intention for today's practice. Maybe practicing the art of letting go and surrendering. And as this intention becomes clearer to you, we will start off today's practice with a thought through mantra. The mantra that I will repeat 3 times, its translation is as follows. And as you hear the words in Sanskrit, notice how the words feel in the body. The translation is, lead me from the unreal to the real, from the darkness to the light, from the illusion of death to immortality. Let there be peace, peace, peace. Om Asato Masat Gamaya Tamaso Ma Jyotri Gamaha Mrityorma Mritam Gamaya Om Asato Masat Gamaya Tamaso Ma Jyotri Gamaha Mrityorma Mritam Gamaya Om Tomasat Kamaya Tamasoma Jyotri Kamaha Vrityorma Vritam Gamaya. Guiding the hands together in Anjali Mudra in front of the heart. We will inhale into Om to start today's practice. Inhaling now. Om. Rubbing your hands vigorously together, creating heat through friction. And once your hands get toasty and warm, cupping the hands over the eyes, inhaling the warmth of their touch. And then as you exhale, releasing the hands away from the face, a gentle transition from darkness to light. All right, guys. So for this first posture that we have set up for us today, we're going to be going into a supported fish pose with butterfly legs. So from here, what we're going to do is we're going to take the pads of the feet together. And whenever you get yourself adjusted into any yin posture, you want to make sure that you are max 10% tension. You will notice that if you go anything more than 10% tension, that you might find it slightly more challenging to stay in the poses for an extended period of time. So you want to be able to come into this softly and gradually witness the sensations increase as time passes. So you're going to take the heels of the feet closer towards the sit bones. Pads of the feet are together, knees are nice and wide. If at any point in time this angle of the legs brings you discomfort, or you find that you cannot relax the inner thighs, you can either roll up some towels or blankets or even some pillows, and you can hold the knees up a little bit here for support. Then from here, you're going to descend the base of the shoulder blades all the way down on top of your bolster. You're going to rest the shoulders and the length of the arms on the ground, right in between that blanket and your rolled up bolster here. So over here, we're having a nice openness across the chest. If you find there's any discomfort in the breath, or your neck is cranked back too far, kind of like mine is right now, you can take your blanket, fold it as however many times you want to increase a little bit of height to support the back of the head. So as long as the shoulders are draping towards the earth and the arms are nice and long in T position, the front of the body is fully open towards the earth, the sit bones are sinking down, the knees are nice and wide. And every time we begin in yin posture, we want to begin these postures with 3 intentional breaths, big breaths, in through the nose and out through the mouth. We take these 3 breaths once again, right before coming out of the posture as well. When you know we're getting close to the end of the posture, you will hear the sound of singing bowls, thus preparing the mind and the body to take the last 3 breaths, and lastly, coming out of each pose. So let's take a couple of deep breaths here, in through the nose and out through the mouth. Every exhalation, softening the body, surrendering to gravity and letting go. Letting go of every single muscle from the base of the feet, all the way through the legs, the knees, the inner and outer thighs soften, melting the glutes into the earth, allowing the inner hips to open. As you descend the weight of the sit bones into the earth, relaxing and releasing every muscle surrounding each vertebra, all the way up the length of the spine, allowing the shoulders to fall heavily to the earth, allowing the arms to sink into the ground. Notice at any point in time if your muscles begin to re-engage. If this begins to happen, or when you realize that this begins to happen, send your exhalation into these areas, giving the muscles permission to let go, release, and fully relax. If at any point in time during today's practice, or any practice in the future, if you experience a sharp, sudden sensation, that is the only time where your body is asking you to come out of the pose and finding either a modification or releasing the body in the way that you feel is best at that time. We are magnificent creatures, and we can witness such intensities and sensations outside of sharp without reacting to them. Staying patient and mindful, staying with compassion. Sweeping the mind throughout the body, examining every part by part, piece by piece, from the crown of the head to the tips of the toes, from the tips of the toes to the crown of the head. Exhaling the breath into any area where you would like to release the tension, using your breath like medicine throughout your entire body. Taking the last 3 breaths here, in through the nose and out through the mouth. And from here, we're going to guide the knees towards each other. On the inhalation, we're going to press through the feet, lift the hips up enough so that you can start to roll your bolster all the way down underneath your knees. And then from here, you're going to keep your feet planted with your knees bent. You're going to place your hands firmly on the ground. And then as you inhale, you're going to lift yourself back up into a seated position. If there's any other way that is more beneficial for you to come up, that is more comfortable for you, please feel free to do so. And as you come up here, you're going to make sure that the legs are at least hip width distance apart here. Then we're going to release the spine. We're going to inhale, reach up to the sky. Then as you exhale, you're going to relax the entire length of the spine over the legs, releasing the weight of the head. Guiding your breath into the spaces in between each vertebra. Allow the head to become heavy. Shoulders are heavy and weighted. Draping the spine over in between the legs. Noticing all of the sensations throughout the body. Observing every single cell within the framework, every fiber of your being. Taking the last 3 breaths here. And at the base of your exhalation, inhale to walk the hands back towards the body, lifting the crown of the head back up to the sky. So before we continue today's practice, it is integral that when you come out of any yin posture, you're doing so very slowly, very mindfully. You're going to notice that your body's going to want to move excessively slow. This is exactly what we're needing to do. We need to be nice and slow, nice and mindful, and honor the body at all times. Okay? So from here, we're going to remove the bolster off to one side. We're going to give a little bit of a stretch towards the outer hips before any other posture, and we're also going to open up the shoulders a little bit more. So from here, we're going to step the feet a little bit wider than hip width distance apart. And you're going to take the hands out behind you, maybe even wider than shoulder width distance, with the fingers pointing back. So from here, what we're going to do is you're going to start to walk forward onto your sit bones. You're going to keep walking your sit bones forward, walk, 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 until you feel that tension across the shoulders. Once you feel like you can't walk any further, then you're going to step the feet towards each other. You're going to inhale to lift the heart up towards the sun. And then from here, you're going to start to press through the base. As you exhale, descend the knees upon the right. Breathe into that left arm, left shoulder. One more breath. Inhale, center. All right, pressing through the right palm. Exhale, knees to the left. Keeping that heart open and lifted. Guiding your exhalations through the right shoulder and arm. For 3, 2, and 1. Beautiful. Inhale back through center. You're going to soften at the elbows, press through the feet, shift the sit bones all the way back to cross the legs. Okay, so from here, we're going to inhale, hands up to the sky. As you exhale, sweep the arms back wide, and we're going to interlace the fingers behind the back body. From here, we're going to sweep the hands over towards the right hip, and then you're going to glide the right elbow all the way back. So just so that you know what we're doing, I'm going to show you what it looks like from behind. Perfect. And once you're secure, you're going to start to descend on your exhalation, the right ear towards the right shoulder. Take a couple of deep breaths here. Lengthening each breath, guiding your breath through the left side of the neck, allowing the left shoulder to fall heavily to the earth, breathing through each sensation. And then gently begin to turn your gaze towards the inner right armpit. Continuing to breathe, observing sensations. For 3, 2, and 1. Inhale, crown comes back up towards the sky. And then as you exhale, we're going to sweep the hands towards the left hip here. You're going to glide that left elbow all the way back. Fingers are strongly interlaced here. And then as you exhale, begin to descend the left ear towards the left shoulder. Breathing deeply throughout the whole right side. Right shoulder falls heavily to the ground. Lengthening the right side of the neck. is called the unwinding pose. Let's take one more deep breath here before switching our gaze towards the inner armpit. And slowly begin to turn your gaze towards the inner left armpit, continuing to breathe through that right shoulder. For 3, 2, and 1. As you inhale, guiding the crown of the head all the way back up to the sky and releasing the arms. Beautiful. From here, we're going to inhale, open up the arms into T position, thumbs pointing up to the sky. On your exhalation, you're going to sweep the right arm underneath the left. And then for here, if you'd like to, you can start to draw the back of the hands towards each other. Or if you wanted to, you can start to interlace the arms, taking the palms towards each other here in eagle pose. Upon your exhalation, we're going to lift the arms away from the earth. And then while we're here, we're going to give a little bit of exercise to the eyes. Okay, so from here, focus your eyes to the center of your wrists. And then begin to focus on the periphery. Notice the images as far past the right and the left corners of the eyes as possible. Slowly begin to take your gaze back towards the inner wrists. And then shift your gaze outward to the outer edges of the eyes. Let's do that one more time. Gaze towards the inner wrists. And then sliding your gaze out to your periphery. Beautiful. Inhale, open arms. Exhale, sweeping the left arm underneath the right, eagle arms. On the next exhalation, lifting the arms away from the earth. And guiding the gaze into the inner wrists. Switching from the inner wrists to the periphery. From your periphery to the wrists. Continue to switch from a front view to the side view to strengthen the muscles behind the eyes. Steadying your breath for 4, 3, 2, and 1. Beautiful. Inhale, open, bolster again. And you could even choose to use that blanket for the knee that's going to be resting on the ground. I always like to be as comfortable as possible in my yoga classes. So any sort of support is always welcome. Be comfortable as possible. You're going to start to take your blanket and then you're going to shift your bolster towards the top part of your mat. So coming into lizard here, you're going to take the knees on top of your blanket here. And we're going to step the right foot forward all the way to the edge of the mat. Like so. And then from here, so quick little thing about that back knee, you don't have to untuck your toe. Sometimes that can bring a bit of discomfort through that knee. So you can either keep your toe tucked or you can untuck it, okay? Kind of sound like I said untuck it. All right, from here, you're going to flip your right toes outward at a 45-degree angle. You're going to notice that leg to open up, releasing the inner right hip. From here, you can start to either take your hands over your bolster, and then you can start to see how low you can get here. So you can either bend at your elbows, or you can rest your forearms down on top of your bolster here. You can even clasp the hands together, interlacing the fingers. Allow that the right knee to fall out nice and heavily, releasing the inner and outer muscles of the hips and the glutes. And breathing here. Reaching through the crown of the head to lengthen and protect the back of the neck. And again, if this is too high for you, you can even rest your forearms down on the ground. Let's take the last 3 breaths here. And then we're going to slide ourselves back into child's pose. So you're going to take the hands underneath the shoulders. You're going to shift that bolster towards the front of your mat. And we're going to very mindfully heel toe that right foot in. And then we're going to step that right foot all the way back beside the left knee. Untuck the toes into your child's pose here. In your child's pose, you do have the option of resting your arms, or if you'd like to get a little bit deeper into the shoulders, you can take your bolster all the way out in front. You can rest your hands over your forearms over bolster with the thumbs up. You can sink in between the legs. You can even open up your knees here to sink the chest towards the ground, giving a little bit of an opening towards the shoulders. Two more breaths here. Slowly on your inhale, rising. back to tabletop position. Make sure that your bolster is up at the top of your mat with room towards the left side. We're going to step the left foot towards the outer edge of the mat. And we're going to pivot the toes outward at a 45-degree angle. And then from here, choosing the height in which you'd like to lower yourself. Allowing that left knee to drape open. Sinking the hips into the earth. Relaxing the inner and outer muscles of the left thigh, the glutes. Allowing that knee to drape open. Guiding your exhalations into the inner left hip. Surrendering to gravity. Let's take the last 3 breaths here. And upon the last exhalation, up through the hands, heel toe, the left foot in. And then from here, if you hadn't done this before for your shoulders, you can start to bring that bolster a little bit closer to you. You're going to step that left foot back. Beautiful. Sending the sit bones all the way back. And then from here, resting the forearms over the bolster. And then releasing the weight of the head down to the ground. Take a couple more deep breaths here. And as you inhale, lifting all the way back up into a seated position. Okay, so from here, we're going to be going into dragonfly with a forward fold. So in dragonfly, just going to make a little bit of an adjustment here for myself. You're going to take your sit bones over your blanket that's at the center of your mat. You're going to flip your bolster so that it's lengthwise right in front of you. It's going to be right in between your legs. And then you're going to open up your legs up as far as you can. Press through the heels. So you're going to fully flex your feet. Press through the heels, tuck your toes under. And then from here, you have a couple of different options. If this height is too low, you can stack up more pillows, even so much so you're just resting your chest forward. For a lot of bodies, just tilting the pelvis forward brings a lot of sensation in through the hips. So remembering that little rule here of only going about 10% of your tension. You can always increase the tension as your sensations increase during, but not at the beginning, just so that you're not pulling back, okay? You can also become a little bit of a unicorn. So you can take your bolster here and take one end on your mat and rest your forehead on the other end. So that's a really great way of keeping the spine relatively straight and allowing the arms to hang out to either sides. And making yourself as comfortable as possible depending on wherever you're forward folding. If you're deciding to fold a little bit deeper, you can start to relax the front of the body over your bolster. You can stack your hands to rest your forehead onto them. And even if this is too high for you, you can take the bolster so that you're just resting your head on it. You can start to relax the front of the body down to the ground. Taking 3 deep breaths once you adjust yourself into the appropriate position for your practice today. And relaxing the feet, relaxing the whole body, and breathing into the inner hips. Witnessing the nature of all our sensations, the universal law of nature, impermanence. All things in life impermanent. We can then witness the permanent nature of the sensations. Up our bodies even more in releasing the adhesions that no longer serve us. Practicing the art of letting go every breath, every moment. Noticing if any muscle throughout the body wants to re-engage, and exhaling the breath into these areas, giving these muscles permission to surrender to gravity, let go and release. taking the last 3 breaths here. Deep inhalations through the nostrils, deep exhalations through an open mouth. Sighing out any residual tension throughout the body. The base of the last exhalation, as you inhale, rise. We're going to slide the hands right underneath the knees, and we're going to help the legs, guiding them together. Beautiful. So, if your bolster was right in front of you, you can leave it exactly where it is. So the only thing that we're going to do here to come to our last position for today's class is we're going to take that blanket and we're going to roll up that blanket up. And we're going to provide a little bit of height towards the front of our bolster. So we're going to be resting the length of our spine on top of that bolster, okay? So I'm going to slide it right underneath the top part so that we have a little bit of an incline. P.S. The incline actually helps to activate the parasympathetic nervous system, the rest and digest, cooling down the body, relaxing the nervous system. We're going to flip ourselves over. Our sit bones are going to land right on the mat, so they're completely off the bolster. However, you are going to scoot yourself so that you can feel the base of the spine right on the edge of your bolster. You're going to relax the legs forward, allow them to release, and then you're going to descend the length of the spine over the bolster, and we're going to open up the arms nice and wide, keeping the openness across the chest area. Once you land here, taking the next few deep breaths in through the nose and out through the mouth. Sato Masai Amaya Tamaso Majotri Kamaha Prityorma Gamaya. To their fullest capacity. And allowing a deep sigh to release upon your exhalation. Slowly rolling over towards the right side of your mat, off the bolster, bending the knees. Planting the left hand in front of the chest. And then as you inhale, rising into a seated position to close today's practice with a sound of Om Shanti Shanti Shantihi, which means peace, peace, peace. Guiding the hands together in front of the heart in Anjala Mudra. Let us inhale now. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. May every single cell of your entire being be filled with love, light, abundance, bliss, and freedom, and optimal health. May all beings be happy, be happy, be happy. Namaste. Very important note before you wander off into other activities for today. So if you've never done yin before, or if you've done yin before and never heard this, once we do that, once we actually open up the fascial net throughout the body, we want to be able to give our body a chance to actually heal and repair itself. So we want to make sure that we're not doing any load bearing, no jumping jacks, don't go out for crazy runs, don't lift any weights, at least for 4 to 6 hours, giving your body the time to heal and readjust. Have a great day. Bye for now.